Howdy ESSM 406. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can get an A on the first assignment. By first assignment, I'm referring to the first writing assignment, your first policy memo that you'll have to write. There are some quizzes that will come before the first assignment, and you've already got information about that in your email. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm looking at the course website in the student preview mode. I'm going to scroll down to Unit 1, Course Introduction. And here in Unit 1, once we get this loaded, you'll see that we can download the reading list. And then here is where you can click, and if you click on this link, you will be able to download the assignment sheet that I'm about to show you. So let me switch over to the assignment sheet. And here, just briefly, I explained in the assignment sheet that writing is really a process of thinking, and most people don't write well on their first draft. A lot of students are used to the idea, well, I wrote it, I'm finished. But professional writers make many revisions. Typically, the things that I publish have been revised 20, 30, 40, or more times. So this is a class about how to write, which means a class about how to revise. And if you do poorly on your first assignments, it might mean that you're not revising enough or not revising properly. Come to office hours, visit the writing center. My experience is that there's very few people who are inherently bad writers, but a lot of people who need more practice and experience with the process. So in this assignment, you're going to be writing a policy memo. What's a policy memo? Well, if we go back to the eCampus site, I have a bunch of resources which I've downloaded here in the Resources tab for you, which explain what a policy memo is and how to write one. So let's scroll down. Here's other things. There's some other things very helpful here. There's citation style, some ideas about how to help you think about writing, a list of common writing errors that I've seen in this class, extra credit if you go to the Writing Center, and down here is a bunch of files with information about memo writing. There's also a web page about memo writing and some example topics for this assignment. So going back to the assignment, you're going to be writing a proposal. The proposal is a proposal to your team. Now, as you know, if you've been already reading some of the other resources for this class, you're going to be working in teams in this class, and you've gotten a team maker survey, which I hope you'll fill out the same time as you're working on the essay, and you're going to tell me which topic you would like to study. And it's important that you think seriously about this before you fill out the survey, because this is a class which introduces general principles about policy, and then you apply that to an area which you're interested in. So the area that you're applying it is where you're going to learn about all the details of the policy. Depending on where you want to work when you graduate, you may want to work on different kinds of policy. I'll also try to match students based on their schedules and other things. So you're going to write a proposal to study a topic. You're going to write a proposal. Think about writing this to this team of 4 to 6 students you're going to be working in. And you want them to study a specific natural resource topic. And what you're really trying to do in this memo, you're writing a memo to your team, and you want to convince them that your topic is an important and interesting topic that they can study. So you need to, first of all, choose a topic that interests and excites you, something you're passionate about, that relates to the area you'd like to be in the future. It needs to be a natural resource policy problem. Okay, it needs to be about natural resources because this is a class about natural resources. What's a policy problem? Well, the readings explain what we mean by policy. They give slightly different definitions, but briefly, we think about policy as authoritative decision-making made by a society. The most common policies that we're familiar with are laws, but not all policies are laws. So there's other kinds of ways that we make authoritative decisions as a society. And a natural resource policy problem is a problem about which there are laws, or about which some people, or policies, about which some people think policies should be made. So it's okay, for example, your topic could be an endangered species, an issue about which there is a policy in the United States. But it could be about another natural resource problem which doesn't have a policy yet, but which people think it should have a policy. Now, it's only a policy problem really if there's some kind of controversy about it. So some people think there should be a policy, some people shouldn't think there should be a policy. Or some people think the policy should be X and others think the policy should be Y. So that's the domain. Now I want you to choose a policy that's not just any policy problem, but one that has a substantial local component. Now, what do I mean by a local component? Well, I don't really mean that it has to be something here in Bryan College Station, although you're welcome to do study a policy problem that affects us here in College Station. But I mean that it affects a place specifically. So let me give you an example. For the past few years, there's been a drought in Texas, and a lot of students in this class have chosen to write about water management issues here in Texas. And a lot of students in their first essay say, well, there's a water shortage in Texas. I want to write about that. Well, Texas is really big, right? And there's actually a lot of different water shortages. So if you're in the Ogallala Aquifer or if you're in the Edwards Aquifer, water shortages look really different than they do actually here in College Station or, for that matter, in East Texas. They're all very different issues. The Ogallala Aquifer is being run down. The Edwards Aquifer is not being run down. But if we overpump the Edwards Aquifer, it affects endangered species, which isn't a problem in the Ogallala Aquifer. So choose one of those problems. Don't do all of them. So I want you to do something specific and bounded, something that has, as I say, a local component. Again, climate change, great important topic, but it's huge. There's too much going on with climate change writ large. But if you say, I want to look at climate change's effects in East Texas, well, maybe that's a policy problem. Maybe we can do something about coastal flooding, for example. That would be a policy problem that's related to climate change. So there has to be a controversy. It has to be local. It has to be about natural resources. Now, this is all explained here in detail in this assignment. And the important thing for you to know is that when you're choosing this policy topic, you're going to be writing about this topic for the rest of the term. You want to find a topic you're really passionate about, interested about, and convince your team to write about that topic. Now, a second thing that you need to do is you need to show that you can find enough information to actually study this topic for the whole term. There's some topics you might find something in a newspaper about some issue and then not find any more information anywhere. So I have specific guidelines, but the main idea is study something which there's a lot of information about. The specific guidelines are you have to have 5 sources that you have to cite using the APA format. Now there's a lot of resources for helping you in the APA format. The University Writing Center, if you Google, you can find places. But I really recommend that you use one of these software packages like Zotero, EndNote, or Mendeley, which are designed to help you use proper citation format. They're not a cure-all. You can use them incorrectly. A lot of students do, but they will help you. And you have to have 5 sources, of which 3 must not be from newspapers, magazines, or news websites. So 2 can be newspapers, magazines, news websites. Those are great places, great sources. But I want you to show me that government documents, scholarly sources, 1 must be a scholarly source. Now, how will you be evaluated? You are going to come down here and look at the grading rubric. I'll have a very similar grading rubric for all the assignments in this class, but this is the grading rubric for this assignment. I'm going to evaluate you on your style. Your essay should be entertaining. I have to read 110 of these. I'm going to be really bored. So try to make it interesting. Draw me in at the beginning. Make the case about why this is important. You should follow the length requirements. You should have a policy memo format as described on the resources page. and follow these guidelines. Now you need to be well organized. You have to have a thesis statement. You have to have clearly organized paragraphs with topic sentences. You have to have proper syntax, grammar, usage, and spelling. And again, the bibliography should be cited in the APA 6 style. You need 5 sources cited in the text and listed in the works cited section, of which 3 must come from sources other than newspapers, magazines, and web pages. And at least 1 must be from a peer-reviewed journal article. Now, I'm also going to evaluate you based on whether you really have identified a contemporary natural resource policy problem in a specific local fashion, and whether you've had enough sources. And you also need to explain who are the actors. Now, what's an actor? Last year, some students said in the previous version of this video, which was a little bit shorter, I didn't really do a good job explaining what I meant by an actor. So an actor is a person or a group of people who are doing something about the issue. So let's say that we are studying an endangered species. Well, I'll tell you right away that one actor is the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, which is the U.S. agency that administers the Endangered Species Act. Another actor is probably going to be an environmental group that's working to protect the species. Another actor might be a scientist who knows something about that. He's studying that species. And another actor might be whoever's business or industry is damaging that species. So if it's the sage grouse, it might be the oil and gas industry. If it's the golden-cheeked warbler, it might be the military activities in Fort Hood. So those are the kinds of actors, the people, the groups of people who are making a difference. And it says you should have a minimum of 3 actors that you'd identify. And you should tell me what they think. And you should tell me what the key policies are. So you should tell me, who are these actors? What do they think? What are they doing? Why do they care about this issue? Finally, you need to tell me why this topic is important. Down here at the bottom of the assignment page, I have a few examples that I've given you of assignments. These are from 2 years ago now, that were successful. So you can see this person, whose name I've withheld, has done a good job. Now, these aren't perfect assignments. They're very good assignments, but I wouldn't say they're perfect. The subject line, I would think maybe you could have a more exciting subject line, particularly in Texas, bioaccumulation of mercury in the northeastern U.S. Do we care about that here in Texas? I care about it because my parents live in the northeastern U.S., but you might not. And what's bioaccumulation? I don't even know what that is, right? That's kind of a big word. You might also have a more exciting first sentence, using fewer big words and maybe clear explanation of why this is an issue worth investigating. But here you can see he's very well organized. He has a very clear statement of what the topic is, bioaccumulation of mercury here. Then he has a statement of what he's going to talk about here. He has a clear thesis statement. And then he has organized lots of information about this, several different sources, scholarly source, some sources from the U.S. government, some other sources. And here these are cited in proper, the environmental working group is an environmental group. And so I have several examples here. He has a lot of citations. Several examples of successful memos. Please review them carefully to give you an idea. Please review all the resources so you know how to do this properly. And best of luck.